Hi everyone, this is Tom Salenka, otherwise known as the Illustrious Q. Once again, bring you live coverage here from New York City Comic Con. This time I'm here with Archie, Production Comics, and fan favorite on the Sonic the Hedgehog comics, Jonathan Gray.
Hello!
So John,
that was the nerdiest hello I think I've ever done in my life.
So John, how did you end up getting to start work on Sonic the Hedgehog comics?
I actually started just before I graduated from Savannah College of Art and Design. I'd known Jeff Axer, for quite a while, and he was getting ready to leave the book, and he was tasked by Justin to find somebody to potentially replace him. So Axer wrote up like a little 6-page Knack, Sally, and Sonic script, and I did some doodles for that. Justin liked them enough for me to submit, and originally I was going to do the second part of the Hallmark, but that's the one that Dave Manick did, but it was too far in production in order to start on it, so that is how I ended up doing 134, which the Sally slapping issue, which I will never, ever live down.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be able to live that down at some point.
Nah, not really.
All you have to do is just draw Sally slapping Eggman. I
figure I should draw several panels of Sally slapping everybody in the book, and then at that point, I'll only be even. Better yet, I should probably draw Sonic slapping. Well, no, I can't draw Sonic slapping. Ignore I said anything.
So we know you ended up doing the STH 134, and then you ended up doing several issues right afterwards.
Yeah.
Most notably the Return to Angel Island arc.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that? Doing that particular arc?
I loved doing that arc. My artwork at the time, I was fresh out of college, and I'd never done anything professionally before. Sonic was the very, very first thing I'd ever done. So, you know, I look at it now that my art has improved so much, and I'm just kind of like, really? You know, it's one of those kind of things. But, you know, at the time, I was like a kid in a candy store going bonkers. It was, you know, I was working on the comic book that I'd been reading since middle school. It was a very big thing to do. There were some hiccups along the way, you know, but I wouldn't take that back for anything. I learned so much and applied it to the stuff that I have now, you know, now that I finished grad school and gone through everything else like that. That was a very good period, you know. I loved it.
And among some of the cooler aspects that actually came out of the Return to Angel Island art, most notably the Echidna's mass extermination, which you pulled off great with the egg grapes.
Thank you.
But the absolute coolest thing that came out of that art was Dr. Finitavis. How did you come up with that design?
Well, we wanted something that was really different, and there was a little, you know, Fleetway had introduced Dr. Zachary first, but we really did not want to bite totally off Dr. Zachary. I was told that they wanted an albino echidna. The key goal in designing Finitavis was to not have any more Knuckles clones, because we really didn't want to plop a wig on somebody, give her a little surname, and call that be the end of the day.
Which had been done so many times before.
Yes, yes. Yes. But Finitavis was specific. I basically went complete opposite of all of the other designs. I had the ability to do lock also. I'd done a number of different designs for all the characters. The only ones that really took were Locke, Finitavis, and surprisingly Remington. Remington was so drastically different from how he was prior. It was just a really interesting kind of thing to take part in. Finny, though, was by far my favorite. Since he was completely new, had no ties to anything else, I was basically just instructed to go crazy with the design. So I took a little bit of the white from Dr. Zachary because obviously albino. And and then went with the power rings as armbands, the mummified looking feet and hands and whatnot. And originally he was going to have a third eye, and that got nixed by Mike Pellerito. Little inside thing, the scene with Hunter, the very last issue, it had already been written, and what was going to be revealed was that the way that Finitivus escaped, he had a the original design had him wearing a headband. He'd lift up the headband, and the third eye would have hypnotized Hunter into escaping. Fortunately, that got shot down, I think, 0 hour. So that scene was pretty much one of the cutting room floor things of that issue. And it ended up going in a completely different direction, but you know, Ian took a hold with it afterwards and just worked wonders with the character and the concept. And it was great seeing Tracy and especially Spaz draw it. I was ecstatic over that. So
yeah, especially with how Ian and Fisted took those little power rings that you used for gauntlets, how he's just gone into make it into Finitivus' fighting style, which is awesome.
That was something that I'd actually had not planned for, because I know I just did the rings as just kind of an ornamental design, and then Ian took those rings and he turned it into something completely different with the warp ring technology, and it all just worked out. Everything fell into place like dominoes.
Nice. And the last issue that you ended up doing right before you ended up taking a break to get your advanced degree was the Dear Friend issue, or Dear Ally?
Dear Al, yeah, that was Sonic 144. That one was an odd duck. It was actually, I guess we can talk about this now. It was actually completely rewritten. The original script by Romy Chacon was something entirely different, and we wanted to change it to try and steer it a little bit more into the regular continuity. So I didn't get writing credit. Romy kept the writing credit on that, but more or less the script was changed to give Sally a sort of vehicle. By that point, the slap issue had been done, and it was done at a time where there were a lot of changes going on at Archie. I came in during a very odd and interesting period. And there was a conscious effort by Mike Pellerito to really put the book back on track, and I was really honored that he approached me to try and get Sally, kind of ease her back very slowly into her original personality, or something that was a little bit better from what had gone on prior. So it was basically a case of looking at the different girls in Sonic's life, Mina, Sally, trying to give a little bit more purpose to Amy along the way as well, and throwing it in from there. One of the things that wasn't picked back up, but one of the little tidbits was Rosie and Chuck being the very last letter that Sally looks at. And while that never really went anywhere, again, it was more of just trying to get things away from the Titan Tales kind of stuff, and back to the kind of stuff that Ian was doing, or Ian would eventually do.
Gotcha. Now, we know you've designed a number of different characters for the book, most notably Dr. Finitivus and Ash, Mina's boyfriend. Out of all the characters that you've designed, which one is your favorite?
By far, it'd have to be Finny. I'm really proud of Finn because I didn't expect him to be accepted as much. I kind of had a feeling that Ash's original design was that he had fur dye tattoos on his fur and whatnot, but that was nixed. So as a result, I always kind of felt like Ash's design was neutered just a little bit, and he was more of a Mina clone that I really wanted him to be. Finn, however, really stood out because I put a lot of effort into that, like the black eyes, the yellow ring pupils, the red bags under his eyes and whatnot. And there's one I'm really proud of. I wouldn't go back and change one bit. It would definitely be him.
seriously, because the first panel when he showed it was like, okay, this guy is creepy beyond all reason.
I love Ian's nickname for him, which is Creepy Von Evil. So.
Yeah, and I also loved how we ended up on the April Fools from last year, ended up making it so that Doctor ended up being Baron, so it ended up being Baron Creepy Von Evil, which was great, absolutely fantastic to see on Bumble King.
It's got to be Finn. Finn is by far my favorite design. I like what I'd done with Locke. When I was reading it as a kid in middle school, and it's not a knock against Manny Galan, who's an excellent artist, and especially Spaz, I think, who might have had some part in the original design for it. But I really didn't like the Obi-Wan Kenobi design of Locke. I kind of felt that as Knuckles has this very basic Sega Sonic design. You know, no extra clothes. He's just got his glove spikes and his shoes. And one of his spikes and the Lego design on his shoes are the two most notable aspects of its design. So I figured, you know, if he's based off the Knuckles clan and Locke is going to war, he should go to war, you know, with the Dingo regime, having something that resembles the old school look and whatnot of Knuckles. So I gave him that, basically took a tribal kind of look with him, with the Lego design on his boots, gave him the faux spiked gloves, a shield and whatnot, and tried to keep it so that Locke was still recognizable, but at the same time a lot different from how he was, something that made him pop out more among the characters, the very characters of the book and whatnot. You remember Julie Sue a whole lot more than you'll remember somebody like Komi Ko.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's none to know. I mean, if you look at Spaz's design for Julie Sue, it's great.
Yeah.
You know, and in my opinion, a character design should not be so distracting that it's hard to draw, while at the same time it should be just enough that you instantly know who that character is. You're not going to say, oh, that's Knuckles in a wig, or oh, that's Sonic with a little headband, you know, that kind of thing. Which
the book has been accused of doing lots and lots of times.
It's been accused of lots and lots of times, and again, this was a lot of fans don't really understand that Mike Pellerito should really be credited with a lot of the changes that happened with the Sonic book, because if it weren't for him, I don't even think the book would be around today. He introduced a lot of changes and really got that book back on track to where it needed to be, and it took a long time for it to happen. But you know, whether you agree with some of the situations that may have happened after it or not, it was really a conscious effort to really make Sonic a powerhouse, or, you know, make it into something more than what it was at that time and those times previous to it. And I think that it's far surpassed those expectations over time.
And now this is just a little fun little question, but the nerves. How is your evil little scheme with them progressing?
So far, I have managed to get a nice little legion on Bumble King to annoy Ian enough to pay attention to them. It was either between the Nerves or Alan Cal. And I chose the Nerves because they're just so obscure and so stupid that you just can't help but love the little things. And I bugged Ian enough about him that it's kind of got like a little worm in his ear. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it. The day will come when they return to the book, and when they return to the book, I will clasp my hands and I will grin with glee, because I have tainted your book with